Yo, what's up, guys? So let's talk about season one of the first Descendant. And the way that I would describe the season one, from what I've read so far, it's kind of like being kicked in the shin and having the same person that kicked you in the shin like rub it better and say everything's okay exactly at the same time. So I'm kind of confused on what's kind of really going on, especially like as a player that plays as much as I do. But I do want to come in with more of like a neutral ground here before we kind of like because what I'm good at, and I think like a lot of us are quite good at, is getting too heavily into like our opinion of like this game is great or this game is just trash, right? And the game isn't trash, but the game can definitely be improved at the same time. So I just want to keep a bit of like a level head here, when kind of like doing these kinds of videos because they have done a lot for the game when it first came out. There is a lot of buffs, reworks, things that have been added, things that have been taken away to kind of like improve the kind of player experience. And with this new kind of season one update, they've done exactly that as well. They've kind of taken some stuff away, which is great, and they've added some stuff in as well. But they've also, well, adding those things in, kind of just made some, in my opinion, they've made some kind of like weird um kind of additions or like kind of weird choices. And I'm just going to go through one of them. So they've added a really cool new dungeon system into the game. And I love going through dungeons. I've played Diablo. I played, PoE. I've played Warframe. And I love going into dungeons. And I go into dungeons to get those specific resources or like drops or whatever. And I find them quite engaging and fun. So they added this kind of new dungeon. And this dungeon is supposed to kind of test your skills, supposed to test your wits, and Corel's trying to like hold you back and from like scaling and all these kinds of things. And there's lots of they describe it as different systems with different kind of different mechanism and mechanics for each legion, but they're solo challenges only. Now, for me, that doesn't really affect me too much, right? I am primarily a solo player, but as a player that plays with friends as well and would love to do these kinds of things with friends, it makes it quite kind of difficult because I'm not gonna if I'm like spending a day with my friends and we're running through like missions and all these kinds of things and we're farming together and we want to kind of do these core dungeons, we won't be able to do them together. Then we have to split off and then we have to kind of like do all these different things, or we're in the same Discord, we're all doing the different missions. You know what I mean? It creates like separation in the game. I think you just have two of the same mission, right? And you just scale it to both. Especially like you did have enough time as a company to like make this thing solo and to make it multiplayer at the same time, right? So like it just kind of feels a little just off, if you get what I mean, because the dungeons sound cool. The features have different routes, puzzles, and strategies than a normal dungeon. And that it sounds cool. It sounds like it sounds like there's like different routes and like the dungeon is always changing and there's kind of like things that you need to kind of like math out or whatever. And it sounds interesting. It sounds fun. But so when you do it solo, I feel it's kind of like a bit just a bit off. If you get what I mean, it's kind of a bit off. Then we've got Haley, right? And I'm definitely going to be playing Haley. She sounds like my kind of descendant. For those of you who don't know, I've been trying to make a sniper glade work, and it's been very difficult. Of making a sniper glade doesn't. It's not exactly like the best thing right now, but having it as kind of like a sniper descendant definitely suits my kind of play style. I like playing far away. I like being like dodge rolling and kind of maximum damage. And I'm definitely going to play Descendant. It looks really fun. The animation times look a little wild, as you can see here. Like it looks like you're kind of animation locked here for quite a few seconds. But I think that's kind of a given in the game current meta. For users of you who don't play Glay's got like a 15-second animation lock. It's like it's actually insane. Feels like an hour. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these skills are locked behind just like weird animations. Yeah, looks cool. Do I want to use my gun? Yes. Do I want to slide into using it? Not really. I just want to use my gun to kill a boss. But she looks kind of cool. So she gets like a cold freezing material sniper rifle. which kind of, it looks like it scales off of like fire attack and skill. Be chill skill with a bit of MP, and then is so MP recovery on successful weak point attack. So that's just the usual sniper stuff. So you're just gonna stack some weak point damage. Maybe you could scale off a gun. I don't know, but it'd be interesting to have a look at, see maybe some of the modules, the transcendent module cards, see if it like changes how it works. That'll be definitely interesting. So here we have the invasion reinforcer season progression, and these look like just kind of buffs that you put onto your descendant. So as you see on the first one, when you farm for these things and they kind of like the skills drop from missions, or you apply these skills onto your descendant, it looks like it just like it can improve your player stats. It improves attribute resistance, recovery, and you, from what I've read so far, you kind of select from like which one you kind of want to scale first, and then once that's maxed, you go on to the next one. And once that's maxed, you go on to the next one, and then you kind of get all five. And then at the end of all five, there's like another bonus skill, and you can only have about 3 of those active at the same time. So this is what it kind of says down here. This means that if you unlock all invasion reinforcement effects, which are these up here, you can utilize 3 selected effects and 5 collection effects from each line in battle. So it looks like you can have potentially all of these actives with like a bonus one on the end at the same time. Then we have the Ultimate Freyna. She comes with a new kind of like mission, like the bunny mission, her separate mission. We have a Freyna bunny mission, a Freyna bunny. We have a Freyna mission, Freyna storyline. We got 2 new guns that are being implemented into the game. We've got assault rifle that once it gets enough energy, it can fire energy grenades. And then we have a scout sniper rifle that reduces chill resistance and increases chill skill damage. And they say this would be a perfect weapon for Viessa or Haley. Obviously, it's going to be a perfect weapon for Haley because you're going to want to stay away from that distance. I don't see why a Viessa would ever use a sniper rifle. Her skills are way too close range. It doesn't make kind of sense to me that they would say Viessa here, but I guess more diversity there if you have a sniper Viessa build. I haven't seen one of those yet. Now, we also have a new intercept battle. We have a Death Stalker. This kind of sounds interesting. When you read on, it says the Death Stalker emerges from the darkness and unleashes attacks based on poison and fear. So, initially I thought, right, we've got like another Swamp Walker. Because, if it's just going to be releasing poison everywhere, great, yeah. But I'm interested to see the fear factor. Is that going to be like the raid wipe mechanic, or is that going to be, the mechanic where you got like thrown into the air and then like slam back down again when you're fighting like the pyromancer and stuff like that? Is that going to be one of those like in like a nighttime dark effect? So that'll be interesting to kind of see that kind of fear effect and how they use that. Now, here's an interesting one. A highest difficulty infiltration operations. This sounds cool. This, to me, from what I've read, it sounds like GR in Diablo. It sounds like you go in, and the more you kind of go in, the harder it's going to get. So in Season 1, the highest difficulty of the infiltration operations will be added. It's a proving ground to test and polish your optimized builds. So that sounds so cool. That sounds so cool. That sounds something that I'm going to delve into pretty much every time I jump on, potentially for even hours on end. For a team, or challenge yourself to more difficult infiltration operations in public matchmaking. So nice. It's for teams and it's for us at the same time. Improve your strength, the descendants, and acquire loot that can only be obtained in the more difficult infiltration operations. Now, this sounds cool. Now, what I'm worried about when this kind of comes out is it just a button? Is it just like you have normal, hard, and then you have harder? Or is it like a scaling difficulty? Like the more you do, the harder it gets. Is it like a tier system? Like you start off at tier 1, which is normal, and then you go to like tier 10, which is hard, and then you go to like tier 50, which is like super hard, and then you push it. Is it kind of that kind of system? I hope it's kind of there's kind of the progression system. I hope it's not just like, here's a harder mode, click on harder mode, you're now in harder mode, and then Bunny just obviously runs through it and just wipes out everything. Oh, just yeah. Now we did want a trader, and they did mention a trader, but as players, we wanted to trade between each other, like Warframe, and have like an online kind of like marketplace where we could kind of put stuff up which we don't need and kind of like sell that for like currency, and we can then use that currency to buy other things that we necessarily are like struggling to kind of farm for. But what this looks like, it's just a guy who spawns in, who sells kind of like unique stuff, and there is a new currency in the game. So it just says he shows up with a variety of products that can be purchased with exclusive currency. I don't know what that exclusive currency means. I don't know where we're going to farm this. I would assume we would farm it in the highest difficulty infiltration operations. And if that is the case, then it doesn't really make sense to me, because we would have the gear for that. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's something. It could, like, it's in the game. Could it be changed later? Possibly. Could we have an online marketplace later, like Warframe? Possibly. And again, the game is still in its kind of like infant stage. It is still pretty early. I wouldn't say like early access, but it definitely feels more beta-esque than like a full release game. So we still got a way to go yet for this game to be kind of like polished, kind of like a rocky surface. We're nothing like a polished kind of game yet, but it's a good kind of like move forward. We've got some hard stuff coming in finally, and then we've got some like a semi kind of marketplace coming in as well, which is great. Now this is where I get really confused. Now, when seasons, I've never experienced a season that has come out in stages before. I've never experienced that in any game. Now, to some people, it might be, you know, they've experienced this before and they're completely fine with it. But this is my first experience of it. I've played Diablo, seasons of Diablo, many seasons of Diablo, and usually when a season comes out, it's like the entire thing, right? It's just like, here's your season, go experience the season. And the first thing that I lead to when I'm kind of looking at something like this is player attention. Now, if I just go into Paint real quick, what you'll see generally, if you go into, if you look at like any kind of new season that comes out, so you got like, I don't know, season that is not, that's a C. So if you look at like season 1, for instance, so when season 1 comes out, you got like a time scale, right? So let's go like, this is like 1 month. And I'm not as good as this as pirate software, right? But let's say you got like 1 month here, right? What you see is that the first 2 weeks, the player attention goes all the way up, and then kind of like starts to kind of do that towards the end of the season, right? Well, that would be like 3 months, right? But that's what it kind of does. And that's fine, because like people are going in, they're experiencing the season, they either enjoy it or they don't, or you know, they uber enjoy it, or they're content creators and they want to just like play it all the way to the end and wait till next season, or you just like really love Diablo, right? But with a system like this, what it feels like, what they're trying to do over the 3 months is, you've got like, let's say month 1 right here, you've got month 2 here, and you've got month 3 here, pushing up until the next season, right? So the first season comes out and it kind of goes up, and then it starts to like dip back down again after people are kind of like done with the content. And then well, I mean, I think the spike is going to be more like this, right? And it's going to like fall off as people start to get the content. And then the month 2 comes out, which isn't like, we can see that there's some stuff coming out in month 2. We get the Deathstalker, we get the weapon. Some people might not be too interested in that, so it might go up a bit and it kind of comes back down. And then in month 3, we got all of this kind of stuff coming out. We got Ultimate Freyna, we got the modifications, we got the Haley modifications coming out. We got new Ultimate modules coming out. We got the highest difficulty operations and the ETA guy. So I'm assuming that it's gonna be like boom, and then leading into the next season, your player base is gonna be higher. am more kind of like hyped for what you're going to bring in for your next season, um, than kind of what it was at the start. That's just kind of what I get from it. And I mean, like, in the conversation, say if like I'm wrong, right? I've had a conversation with one of my friends, and they're like, "You're wrong," and I kind of like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? But this is just like what it feels like, because you have your new descendant Haley coming out, which everyone's gonna want to play on the kind of the first month, but then on the third month, you then get like her modules. You know what I mean? So like, why isn't this like either in month 2, or why isn't just all of this just come out, and then as a player I will go experience it and find what I want to do, because I would say the thing that I am the most hyped for right now is the hardest difficulty infiltration operations. And if that is the case for me, the season doesn't actually come out for me until the 30th. So I have to wait, play whatever is going on right now, or play something different, and then wait until the 30th of October, so then I can play the infiltration operation hard missions and kind of see what they're about. But then I'm kind of just stalling, right? I'm just like, what is Haley like? I play Haley. I played Haley for like a month. Then I play her for 2 months. I don't get to see what her cards are. I don't get maybe like her final build, right, is here. Maybe her final build is here. So now I'm kind of just waiting a month, or waiting 2 months to play Haley. So yeah, I'm a little kind of on edge about this kind of system and why you would release it in kind of like update 1, 2, and 3. But the kind of benefit that you do get from this is that they are very good. Nexon right now, when it comes to the first Descendant, are very good at changes. They are releasing good changes throughout, kind of just updates that are going to be happening like weekly or monthly. So anything that they learned from update 1 can be implemented into update 2. So any of this stuff here can be changed, altered, amended with other bugs that it's going to bring up. Because again, this is their first season. They need to know how it's going to run as a company. They need to know, like, if they release this entire patch all at once and it breaks a few things, then they're going to have to spend time in kind of fixing and amending all of these different things that they've broken unintentionally, because things break all the time when implementing code and all these kinds of stuff into games, just from past experiences. It gives them time, so it kind of like drips feed the content into the game, making sure everything's kind of, is this good? Okay, cool. And then implement something else. Is this good? Yes, cool. Let's go for like the third update. Is this good? Yes. So that's how that I'm kind of thinking of it as well, on top of it being a kind of player retention strategy. I would like to think it's more of like an update, see how it goes, update, see how it goes strategy. Because on top of updating the like previous update, they can also just update the game, saying, okay, that we've now found a better way to level up and get experience, and that's now being implemented into the September update, instead of having to kind of have to wait until like season 2, which obviously would have happened in kind of like a Diablo kind of sense. I'd rather it happen in like September than having to wait till like early Christmas in order to get like RXP kind of grind on. So yeah, I'm kind of confused by it because I've never seen anything like this before, but it kind of allows for more movement and adjusting within the company at the same time. So there's kind of that, I guess. So moving on to the void fragment and fusion reactor loop improvement. So this is also quite nice. So what they've done here is that they've removed each like the different kind of void fragments that you would get. So it's like, so now I need to go take Freyna, or I need to go take like Lepic to go do like fire stuff or like poison stuff. Void shards just dropped now. They've condensed it down to like 1 void fragment. So here we go. Additionally, void shards required for fusion reactors have been consolidated into a single type, which is great. So no matter where you're going, you now just get the void fragments. So there's probably going to be a bit of an issue here. I think what you're going to find is a lot of people just going to do the fastest void fragment mission, and they'll just be doing that now. So they won't be going over to Freyna. They won't be going over to like Alepic or like just whoever, right? And I think personally you're going to start to see even more bunnies than we already originally previously saw. Because I think the fastest mission right now when it comes to void shards is the one in the fortress, the bunny farm. So I think that you're just going to see bunnies there jumping up and down and doing that void fragment mission. Because what I have an issue with in the game as it stands is take me off of bunny, right? And I enjoy playing bunny, but I'd also like to enjoy playing other descendants than just using, Glay or Lepic for bosses. I want to have a reason to jump off bunny. And they've just given me another reason to jump onto bunny because of how the void fragment missions now work. So there's a bit of give and take there. I love the fact that they've added this void shard fragment stuff in, but I'm a little kind of hesitant to see how it actually goes with how the game is currently played. It's a lot of just bunnies running around, jumping about, just wiping out missions as fast as possible, right? Okay, so the hard infiltration operation improvement. So this is kind of cool as well. So you used to be able to just roll. You had the roll button, and you would roll for how difficult your dungeon is, and you would either get like a 100 or a 120 or like a 130, 150, 160, or you get like a 200, get a 210, a 220, but you're looking for like max level difficulty for where you can farm amorphics. That could take you some time. That also cost you quite a bit of gold as well. Gold's not really an issue, but it's still just, it's a time sink when you kind of just want to be in the mission, just farming the amorphics. So now the random options will be replaced with preset selections. The presets offer now 0%, 25, 125, and 250. And descendants who choose the same presets can play together in public matchmaking. So that's great. So now we get to play these missions together, as a multiplayer, as it is a multiplayer game. So we can run through them faster, or we can run through them more efficiently. And we also get we don't have to keep re-rolling them every time to get like specific kind of rolls. We hit 250, we go into a 250 dungeon. We hit 125, we can go into a 125 dungeon, multiplayer or solo. I like this. I like this system. This is great. Okay, so socket. So what they're doing here is they're changing your socket types. Okay, so if you apply your current socket type, whatever symbol you're applying, you can now apply another socket to that socket type, and you can switch between the both of them, which is great, right? Which is great. So now we can run multiple builds with just one character, which is fantastic. The issue that I see there, so if we read through it real quick, the socket type granted to that slot is permanently saved. Now, so you can easily change into the previously granted socket at any time. For example, if a descendant changes an Almedia line, whatever, to a Malkite, you can easily choose between the two of them in that socket afterwards. They said like change to it the previous socketed type. So what I'm wondering is that can I put all socket types in one socket? And I would hope that would be the case. And I would assume that would be the case. But I like asking dumb questions. And because dumb questions are kind of important. Because if I can only change to the previous one, that means you can only have two in one socket type. Because you can only go back to the previous one, which means you can actually only have two builds on one character. Again, that's just speculation, and I hope it doesn't work like that, but I'm kind of getting ready for it. I'm kind of for it to work like that. But again, I hope it doesn't. So Additionally, the socket type applied to the loadout setting 1 can also be used for setting 2 and 3 as well, allowing you to grant multiple socket types. So multiple, I'm hoping, is more than 2, but I'm hoping that it's not just 2. So it's only socket you need multiple socket types depending on your builds. Okay, so yeah, this is great. The issue that does come with it is that you're now going to need to farm a hilarious amount of crystallization catalysts. So you're going to, if you want 2 builds, you're going to need to level your whatever character 20 times if you want to go for like a full new build. If you're going to use like existing socket types to kind of switch and chop and change, then it's obviously going to be a lot less. But a descendant has 12 modules, sorry. That's going to be a lot of leveling, and it's going to be a lot of farming catalysts, especially if you want to try out more than one build or more than one descendant. You're going to need to level 40 times. The kind of obstacle there is the current XP grind. It's not fun. Do I want to be jumping up and down in the bunny farm or doing that non-attribute mission in the Vespers 40 times? The answer is no. So I feel like it's a great option, but we don't have a solution to a very big problem that's kind of like in the game right now, which is the XP grind. I hope that the highest difficulty infiltration operation solves that problem, but it could not, and we could just be in the bunny farm leveling every like 20 to 30 minutes 40 times, which again isn't fun. So here we have just some descendant balance changes. We got some Blair balance changes, but I think like the most important balance change here is Ajax, and this is pretty much you can now run a damage Ajax if you want to be running that. And but yeah, the rest is kind of like UX and like UI changes and improvements to kind of like your reactors. So now the what is it? Where is it? Random options have been added to the external components, chunk filter, and reactor. This allows you to conveniently designate items that don't have the needed random options as junk. Additionally, disassemble items in combat is now available. So what this looks like is that if you're farming for a reactor, you set up the kind of the options that you're looking for, electric singular, for instance, and that will now just, it'll tell you if you have it or not, and the other stuff will just be junked. So that's good. That's good stuff. But again, the reactor farm do need to kind of like be a little bit better. But yeah, that's me for this one. I hope that this was a kind of a good video for you guys. I don't really do videos like this, or like a longer form, or like updates and stuff. I tend to do like build guides and where to go farm some stuff. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Just let me know if you enjoyed this video as well, or if there's anything that I can potentially do in this video. Just let me know, like how could have come across better, because I'm always want to improve as a content creator, and you as the viewers are always going to help me do that, on top of me kind of, you know, rewatching my videos at the same time. But yeah, if this video helped you out, or you know you like the video, please give it a like, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.